2022 is coming to an end here, and with it, lots of year-end lists are coming out. I would like to share with you my top 25 albums of 2022, and I hope that some of these suggestions are unique from all the other lists that are out. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started here. So at number 25, we're going to have Stromae with Multitude. Stromae is a French artist that I was just kind of put onto this year through a Professor Sky video, which I cannot recommend enough. He has a great channel that delves deeply into music. So yeah, Stromae, the album is gorgeous. It's worldly. It uses instruments and sounds that I can't even tell you what they are without looking them up. And that was really cool to kind of delve into, as well as kind of figuring out what each song means with translation. Cool, so let's move on to number 24. At number 24 spot, I'm going to have Boldy James and Nicholas Craven, Fair Exchange, No Robbery. If you guys know anything about me, you know that I have fallen deeply in love with drumless loops in hip-hop. It's kind of like an underground hip-hop sound that's being pushed right now, but using samples of old soul music and just not using the 808s and loud snares that you would hear on typical hip-hop music. So this album is a perfect example of that. And it really just, I mean, it inspired me to start making beats myself, because I really just connected with that sound. So, Boldy James, I mean, he sounds as vicious as ever. They're made for each other. Like this producer rapper combo, really just stellar. So moving on, at number 23, I've got Kenny Beats with his album Louie. This was more of kind of a beat tape than an album, not like overly conceptual or anything, but it's just very feel good. There's lots of nice sampling. There's, he calls upon some artists that he's worked with in the past. We've got a slow tie feature on there. Really nice album, and I actually just learned this, but I guess it's a honor to his dad, this album. So I might have to look a little bit more into that, but regardless, it's been in constant rotation for me. It's really just a feel-good type of project. Coming in at number 22, Nilufer Yana, her album called Painless. So forgive me if I've said that name wrong. I didn't really think about that before starting this video. But this album really surprised me. It's, let's see, it's kind of an indie rock-inspired album, female lead vocals, but we have some very cool Radiohead-influenced percussion and stuff going on this album. Really unique stuff. I mean, yeah, let's see. Favorite songs off that project, Midnight Sun. There's a song called Another Life. Those would be two to check out, see if you can get down with the sound. If you're into Radiohead-esque sonics, I would say this would be a good project to check out for you. At number 21, we're going to go with DJO, Decide. This is a project of Joe Keery of Stranger Things fame. It's his second album to date. And honestly, I mean, it is just so fun to listen to. That's why I had to include it on this album, on this list here. There's definitely some pretty obvious inspirations that he's drawing from, but it all comes off as genuine. It's not just a ripoff. But I would say The Strokes being one, a lot of kind of new wave music. So yeah, really fun project to listen to. If you're a fan of Joe Keery from Stranger Things, makes it even more fun to listen to. Also, some of my favorite songs of the whole year, End of Beginning. Just listen to that track. I mean, it's so good. All right, folks, moving on. Number 20, we're at Saba, A Few Good Things. Now this is an album that, honestly, if this year wasn't so stacked, this must have been a top 10 album for me. I mean, it's just truly heartfelt. It covers many topics of generational disparity, and it kind of, talks about family. It talks about his grandma, his grandpa. So really a beautiful project, and one that I revisited quite a bit throughout the year. And yeah, so that's Saba, A Few Good Things at number 20. Okay, moving on, number 19, we've got Rome Streetz with his Griselda debut, Kiss the Ring. Oh man, what can I say about Kiss the Ring? Executive produced by Westside Gunn. So, he's great at picking aesthetics and beats that are going to match a project nicely, and I mean, he really did something good here. Conductor Williams is one of the main producers on this album. Conductor, we have a problem. That's his little tag there. And he really, killed it. I mean, the kind of flows that Rome Streetz uses are very technical and lots of rhyme scheme and patterns and stuff. And I found that Conductor Williams' production style really flows with that. Everything's kind of off kilter. So yeah, really fun project to listen to. Great Griselda debut album. You know me, I love Griselda, so I'll be definitely looking to Rome Streetz in the future. Next on my list, number 18, we've got Gemini Rights by Steve Lacey. Guys, this album is just so fun to listen to. I mean, I wanted to put this on my list to explain to people that it's more than just the song Bad Habit. I mean, I know you've heard that song on TikToks and whatever clips, but please spin the rest of this album. Steve Lacey is just perfecting kind of a sound that he created, very homespun, garage-esque, R&B, guitar playing. Really, really cool stuff here. Some of my favorite songs of the year as well. We got Mercury. Oh my god, I mean, the drums and just aesthetic of that, beautiful. Alright, lovely. Moving on, number 17, I've got Gene Dawson with Chaos Now. Gene Dawson, this is the first project I've really checked out by this artist. And it really blew me away. I mean, I don't even know how to describe this in likeness to other music. It's very unique. I would say maybe some Mac DeMarco inspirations in there, and even some Bon Iver, Justin Vernon inspirations. There's some softer songs. We have Earl Sweatshirt feature that is just absolutely gorgeous, where he's kind of singing along with acoustic instrumental. So really a cool project. Gene Dawson, Chaos Now. If you like your music kind of off kilter, a little bit alternative, that's a great pick there. So guys, moving on, number 16, I have Beach House, Once Twice Melody. This was a double length album, super long. It's got to be over an hour, and it's 4 pieces. It's split up into 4 pieces, and just really, I mean, showcases all the sonics that Beach House is known for, all in one project. Really nicely done. Favorite songs off that album were Pink Funeral, New Romance. But yeah, it's dreamy, melancholic. If you're familiar with Beach House, you pretty much know what you're getting into, but really executed at a high level. So guys, moving on. Number 15. Got Nas with King's Disease 3. I could say Nas and Hitboy. This is actually the 4th album that they've worked on together in the span of the last couple of years. And it just further cements that producer and artist sort of relationship where, I mean, they're just meshed together so well. They're just made for each other. Really, really awesome stuff. There's a bit in here where Nas is talking about Quincy playing the trumpet, and then Hitboy puts in the trumpet sounds into the song. So I'm a sucker for when the beat and the artist are kind of engaging with each other. So really cool stuff there. Great storytelling. Some of my favorite songs on that one. We got Once a Man, Twice a Child. Crazy writing. Legit. That one has a really cool beat. Okay, so moving on. Number 14, I've got Westside Gunn with which project from this year? With Peace Fly God. I was definitely kind of grown. This album grew on me quite a bit. He even kind of said before it released that it was going to be released without mixing and mastering, and that's going to kind of add to the aesthetics. And while I was skeptical of that, I believe that is the case. There is some incredible just looping and sampling. The beat making and beat choices are just showcasing what Westside Gunn does best. Not only that, we've got some Mad Lib beats on here, which, I mean, that's absolutely amazing. Stove God Cooks, Griselda member, part of the group. He absolutely shines on this album. Lots of really, memorable one-liners, stuff that just runs through my head. So, great album. Really cool cover art for this one, too. I can't remember the artist's name right now, but definitely worth checking out if you're an underground hip-hop fan. So, folks, coming in at number 13, I have Quadeca with I Didn't Mean to Haunt You. This is actually the first Quadeca project I've kind of delved into. I understand that he came up as a YouTuber. He was making diss tracks. He was making songs that were a little bit more maybe had less substance to them. And now he's come out with this album, I Didn't Mean to Haunt You, and this is a true conceptual masterpiece, in my opinion. And it's only grown on me with time. I can only imagine, in a year, 2 years, 3 years, how I'm going to look back on this album. So I haven't fully delved into this, but my understanding is that it's from the perspective of a ghost, and Quadeca is kind of mourning people that are alive versus the people that are alive mourning him. There's lots of really insane sonics on this album. It's one of those that you don't know if it's clicking with you at first, and then the more times you hear it, it starts to become very comfortable. So, really cool project. Shout out Quadeca. Absolute beast. I appreciate the artistic evolution of an artist like that. All right, folks. So, number 12, got Little Simz with No Thank You. This album came out about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. It's fully produced by Inflow, who worked with Simz on her last album, Sometimes I Might Be Introvert. If you guys know anything about me, that was my number one album of last year. Absolutely floored me. So it was really cool to see her come back. This time, we still have a lot of the cinematic and kind of orchestration and choir vocals and very cinematic feeling, because Inflow, I mean, that as a producer, that's kind of what he's known best for. But it definitely takes a step back from kind of the conceptual feeling of the album last year. So while I did really, really enjoy this, and it's only grown on me with listens, I put it at number 12, and it could raise, come further down the list there if it were out for more time, but that's the way it is. So Little Simz, No Thank You, number 12. So moving on. At number 11, I have Danger Mouse and Black Thought with Cheat Codes. Danger Mouse is one of my favorite producers of all time. He's produced my favorite Portugal the Man album. He's worked with, countless artists. He's got the MF Doom album. He's got the CeeLo Green thing going on. So he's a really inspired producer. His stuff sounds so clean. The sampling, it's like kind of the opposite of what I was talking about on the Westside Gunn project. I mean, the sampling is pristine and sonically very crisp. Black Thought, I mean, if you guys know anything about him, he raps with just a lot of intelligence and knowledge, and so much so that, I mean, they're very dense raps, so you kind of have to look up what he's talking about sometimes, and you'll be catching stuff many listens down the road. So that's something I really enjoy about this project. Some of my favorite songs on this one, Sometimes, that's the opener track, great sample on there. Aquamarine with Michael Kiwanuka, really, really stunning track. All right, folks. So we've made it to the top 10 here. So starting out at number 10, I'm going to have to put Rosalia with MOTOMAMI. This was an album that really, really quite shocked me. I'll admit I am not super familiar with Rosalia's career leading up to this, but my understanding is that she's fairly mainstream and kind of in the position where she could she has global fame and stuff like that. And with this album MOTOMAMI, she takes an extremely artistic approach. Many people are kind of comparing it to a Yeezus from Kanye, because this is an artist that's at the peak of her artistic at the peak of her sort of popularity or fame, and they're choosing to make a very artistic project. And so I am all for that. I have a lot of respect for Rosalia. So the album, I mean, let's see here. What did I write? Very off-the-wall production choices, choosing art over popularity. There's fantastic synths on this album. I love me some synths, so I mean, that hits for me. I ended up translating a lot of this album to try to understand the feeling of certain songs, so that was really fun for me as well. So yeah, moving on. At number 9, I've got Omar Apollo with the album Ivory. This came out towards the beginning of 22, and so it had a lot of time to grow on me, and it really did. I mean, it's alternative R&B, except it has kind of Latin-X influences. So really cool stuff. There's some clear Frank Ocean inspiration, but again, it's not a rip-off. It's you know, and if you know anything about me, I love Frank, so I will take those aesthetics any day of the week. So really cool album. I also wanted to mention Omar Apollo's Tiny Desk concert. Oh my god, it is so good. I mean, I might put it top 5 Tiny Desk concerts of all time. That's a whole nother video, but definitely check it out. Made me fall in love with him as an artist. So moving on, folks. Number 8, I've got Westside Gunn with 10, otherwise known as, well, you guys know what it's known as, HWH 10. He dropped that name. Rightfully so. So let's see here. I mean, the feature list is absolutely stacked. We have a lot of features that you wouldn't maybe think to see working with Griselda. I mean, we've got Busta Rhymes, there's like Raekwon, there's Ghostface, we got Black Star. I mean, it is such a feature like rich project. It's amazing, and it showcases Westside Gunn's curation skills, and I mean, that's clearly one of his kind of like biggest things that he can provide as an artist. So the curation is incredible, beats are incredible. Oh, and not to mention what was it, this song with Run the Jewels, Switches on Everything, just incredible beat, absolutely just gorgeous, one of my favorites of the year. Run the Jewels with Westside Gunn teaming up, that's something I never would have saw happening. One of my favorite moments of the year, like, as a listener. I got truly excited listening to that. So that was Westside Gunn with 10. My number 7 spot, we're looking at Weyes Blood and In the Darkness, Hearts Aglow. So this album came out, let's see, probably a month ago, so it's pretty late, and I was not assuming anything was going to break my top 10 at that point, so it was pretty crazy to kind of connect with that album so much. But this is the first Weyes Blood album I've ever listened to all the way through. I understand that her previous album is highly sought after, and you know, critics love it. So came into this, and let me say, so what I wrote here is Christmassy production choices. This is not a Christmas album, but there are like these anthemic bells that give you the sense of sitting by a fire and the smell of pine needles, and like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like warmth. It's like being wrapped up in a hug, like literally. So really cool stuff. The other thing I kind of wrote here, makes you feel like everything you have and everything you've lost all at once. I mean, that's really spot on. This album is introspective and beautiful. Yeah, so definitely check it out. It's great to listen to this time of the year too, because of those Christmassy vibes. So favorite songs, Grapevine, beautiful kind of guitar-driven melody there. Hearts Aglow, absolutely insane, just beautiful. So, all right, moving on to number 6. It's getting tough here, folks. So, Denzel Curry, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. This album, I knew this album was a top 10 album the first listen. Without it, I mean, it's actually right above me here. I would have more of these projects on display, but my record collection is back home in Wisconsin. That's another story. So, yeah, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future, Denzel Curry. What can I say about this? I mean, it's Denzel kind of shifting into a more introspective mode from where we've seen him in the past. And that's kind of a theme of albums this year as a whole, is kind of looking into yourself and figuring out how to be a better person, stuff like that. So Denzel, Melt My Eyes, See Your Future. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is the just aesthetics of the album. He did kind of this like anime style hairdo, and he was rocking that at the shows. And I am huge into aesthetics, so I love when a project kind of like follows a whole vibe. We see Tyler the Creator doing stuff like that. We see Kendrick doing kind of stuff like that. So really cool project. If you haven't listened to that one, what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? Music videos, great as well. Okay, so moving on to number 5. This was a tough one. This one switched back and forth with 6 many times. So moving on to number 5, I've got Jid with The Forever Story. This is Jid entering a new level of artistry, in my opinion. The project, I would say, like, as a hip-hop fan, you could not listen to this album and tell me that you did not get enjoyment out of it. I mean, you just can't. It's nearly perfect in terms of just, like, a hip-hop album. There's storytelling. There's great beats. There's great sampling. Like, Jid has great energy. Lots of many flows that he goes into. We've got some more introspective cuts, some more braggadocious cuts. Really cool album. I mean, that's another one like the last one. If you haven't listened to this, what were you listening to this year? Honestly, what were you listening to? Favorite songs on this one? Radar. I love the like football announcer samples in that song. Crack Sandwich. Storytelling is incredible on that. I mean, that's really fun to listen to for that reason. So, folks, moving on. Number 4, I've got FKA Twigs with Caprisongs. This album actually came out back in January, so it stuck with me the entire year. This is an album that, how do I explain this? Like, it makes you feel sexy to listen to it. I mean, it makes you feel like you're the shit, and like you should be like getting love, and you're loved by people and stuff like that. Like, I don't even know how to say it, but she embodies that sort of feeling, and it comes out through the music, and it really does rub off on you. I mean, this is one of my favorites to come back to. There's a lot of hyper pop sort of like sonics going on, and for me that's kind of undiscovered waters. I haven't listened to a lot of hyper pop, so it's cool to kind of have an in to that genre with this album. Favorite songs on this one, Ride the Dragon, Meta Angel. Meta Angel has a great music video too, really cool. Cool. So, top three. Moving on here, folks, I've got Billy Woods with the album Aethiopes at number 3. This is an album that I wish I could speak more educated about. However, I just can't. Billy Woods is just like clearly a scholar and clearly just has a lot of knowledge and information in his head. And he just pours it out through this album. There's lots of historical references and just kind of dense wordplay and stuff like that. So really interesting. And then on top of that, he's spitting over just absolutely insane beats, very alternative hip-hop beats. I don't really even know how to describe them. I know Preservation did a lot of the production on this album, so really cool stuff if you're familiar with his kind of sound. But yeah, Aethiopes, why did I put it at number 3? Because I have this morbid curiosity about this album where I don't understand everything that it's trying to say or do, but it's just, it keeps me coming back because the sonics are so cool, the raps are so dense. Billy Woods, just, you can tell like the amount of just thought that's going into what he's saying makes you want to understand it. So really cool album. If you like your hip hop, you know, very avant-garde and kind of heady, I would say this is a great project for you. Billy Woods with Aethiopes. So moving on to number 2. At number 2, I have put Kendrick Lamar, Mr. Morale, and the Big Steppers. Folks, this to me, this is the best concept album of the year, period. And the concept that is tackled is ego death. Kendrick is like the only artist that I can think of that can that could portray this message in such a like genuine way. His artistry to me just transcends beyond kind of materialism and things like that, and this album proves that on another level. So we've got some I mean, you guys have heard the album. I won't talk about it too long, but I would like to say it made me kind of research a lot to understand the album better. So something I did was learn more about Eckhart Tolle, which is the German psychologist that Kendrick has speaking on the album about ego and stuff like that. And so I've actually started listening to the guy myself, and it's extremely relevant information to anybody, and I would encourage you to check out some Eckhart Tolle for yourself. And you know, I wouldn't have known without this Kendrick album, so that was really cool. Beyond that, I mean, guys, we have some of Kendrick's most self-aware songwriting, or really the most self-aware songwriting in hip-hop, period. We have absolute separation from the artist and his identity as a superstar. So it's really cool. It's a double album, obviously. We've got 2 parts to it, and it's very theatrical. We got, you know, there's the transitions that have tap dancing and things like that. And we've got Baby Keem on there, his cousin, absolutely you know, bringing a lot to the table. They work nicely together. And I love how this album has a lot of bangers on it. I mean, we've got N95 and Rich Spirit, stuff like that. You know, you can bump that in the whip. And then you've got some songs that, you know, you're going to listen to this in your headphones, no one around, because it's going to hit you like that. And those songs are, you know, Mother I Soap or We Cry Together, which I actually thought was pretty fantastic song. So if you haven't listened to that album, come on now, folks. I mean, that was the biggest release of the whole year, so really cool project. Highly recommend it. Moving on, the final album in my top 25 of the year list. This is 070 Shake with You Can't Kill Me. I would like to know if anyone else out there has this album at their number 1 as well. I feel like this is maybe an unorthodox pick. But 070 Shake is the moniker of Danielle. Oh, forgive me, I cannot think of her last name at the moment. But really cool artist. This is her second project. And I don't even know how to explain this to you guys. Like, if there was an album that was created with my sonic palette in mind, like, they were like, all of my sensibilities, like, oh, I really am drawn to this, they just checked every list and put it in this damn album. I mean, there's incredible synths, the best synths I've heard all year. I'm sorry to The Weeknd, Dawn FM, or any other albums. If there was better synths than this, you need to leave that in the comments for me, because, I mean, absolutely incredible. I assume that they were played by Mike Dean. I'd never actually looked into that, but they sound like his signature sound, so it would make sense. But this is just a gorgeous, gorgeous album. I mean, I don't know what to say about it without you kind of checking it out. The song structure is very kind of sprawling and unorthodox. The writing is from the heart, and you can hear a lot of emotion in her singing and her voice, or her vocal timbre. So let's see, what did I write here? So my favorite songs, probably my favorite song of the year, History. This is 3 parts, 3 very distinct parts, where the song just is progressing and sonically changing, and again, those aesthetics that I'm drawn to are just abundant in this song. Really, really fun to come back to. Very impressive songwriting. So yeah, I mean, that's my number 1, 070 Shake, You Can't Kill Me. Thank you if you've watched this top 25 video here. I'm really just making this because I'm addicted to music and I need to have discourse about it, or else I will drive everyone around me insane. So honestly, if you watch this, I really appreciate you, and